everyone, and welcome back to Biblio Born books. I am Didi, and today I thought I would do the end of year book tag with you. It is basically a book tag looking at your year in review, your reading year in review, and looking forward into next year, looking at your plans for next year. So I'll get into it with the first question. It asks, are there any books you have started this year that you need to finish? Yes. I don't usually do this, but I don't know why. The first book I have to finish is The Wrath and the Dawn's sequel, which is The Rose and the Dagger by Renée Ahdieh. And it's basically kind of a retelling of 1001 Arabian Nights, following Shahrazad and her marriage to a prince who kills his brides. So, I mean, you can tell it's, seeing as it's the second book that I need to finish, she doesn't get killed and their story continues, and you get to see why he has killed his previous brides, over 70 of them I think, and how they try to stop the cycle. The next one is that I need to finish is actually the Case Quotient by Helen Hoang, and I read the first two chapters I think in about June or something, and I just didn't really connect with it. But the more and more I'm just seeing a lot of my other booktubers, and I don't know, I just keep going back to this book. It was in EPUB version, so I decided to buy a physical one, so hopefully I will actually get to it. And it follows Stella, who is an economist with Asperger's syndrome, and she's obviously found it difficult to relate to other people and relate to men and have relationships. So she's now coming to that point in her life where she's like, I actually want to be in a relationship, but I don't know how to. So she hires an escort to teach her how to be seductive and a good girlfriend, and their story ensues. So the second one is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Obviously this book tag is created by American booktubers, so I just decided to change it to, do I have a book that I want to transition into summer with, or into beach read or something like that. And so that is The Bride Test by Helen Hoang. So it's the same author as the Case Quotient, and this one follows Kai, who's autistic, and he believes that he can't have any real feelings, and thus he doesn't have the capacity to love someone. And his mother's like, it's time for you to settle down, and I know you can. So she goes to Vietnam and she tries to find a bride for him, and that bride, she brings back Esme. And Esme is the one now, as she gets to know Kai better, she's the one who becomes smitten and falls in love with him. However, Kai hasn't really reciprocated at this point. But yeah, we go into it with this one. So the third book, well, the third question is there a new release you are still waiting for? Yes, there is. And that is Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, which is the third and final. It's the conclusion to the Folk of Air series, which follows Jude, a human being, a mortal, who has lived in the Fae world kingdom since she was about 7, and she's now living with these ruthless Fae. They're more beautiful, they're more powerful than her, and they kind of, obviously they bully her because she's a minority, as in there's probably 3 other humans in the Fae kingdom, and they ostracize her, and there's a whole power play throughout the books. The second one is The Wicked King, and this is the first one. It was The Cruel Prince. So this is just one of those things that make me very, very, very sad that I live in South Africa. One of the few things, because now this release has been delayed. It came out about 10 days ago, maybe 12 days ago in the US, obviously, but I'm still waiting for it. And because it was it's actually one of my most anticipated reads of this year, of 2019, I'm going to do a vlog for Queen of Nothing, so keep an eye out for that. Okay, so the fourth question is, what are the 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? Alright, so the first one is A Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern, who also wrote The Night Circus, if you know, and it's a book about Zach, who's a graduate student who is in his library one day and finds a mysterious book that actually also has a story from his own childhood, so obviously he's intrigued. And then there are all these symbols in them and little clues, which is a key, a bee, and a sword, as you can see. So he decides to look into it and finds himself in New York in this library where there's a secret doorway that leads to this other place with these lovers and stories from even like dead people. So I mean, she was acclaimed for The Night Circus, so I'm really, really excited to get into this one. And it's a chunk of a book, kind of, so it's a good way to get into December. And then I have a couple Black Dagger Brotherhood books, which I'm really also excited about. These books are about vampire warriors who, in this world of vampires, it's actually in New York, well, a part of New York, the state, and there are 6 vampire warriors who are trying to protect their race, because there's actually a few vampires that are left in the world right now, and they're fighting against lessers, who are these baby powder smelling vampire hunters. Yeah, okay, and it's their love story with their mate, kind of equivalent, whom are called Shellans, or Shellans, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah. And the third book is, I'm thinking of a non-fiction, hopefully, that will be coming by Michelle Obama, or Dear Girls by Ali Wong. So both women of color. I'm hoping that, yeah, I just want to read something else, something out of my normal genres, by people that I respect and like. So yeah. The fifth question is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? No. And I mean, I've thought about this for a while since I was looking at these questions, but I don't necessarily think so. It might actually, maybe not as a shock, but it might become this one, The Starless Sea, or The Night Circus, because I haven't read it, but I've ordered it. Either those two, or Queen of Nothing, which I hope it's Queen of Nothing, but yeah. And then the last question asks you if you've already started making plans for 2020. And yes, I have. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I've started these Insta segments like, Woomy Wednesday, where I will be posting my one romance recommendation every single week, seeing as I consume so much romance, I might as well do it there. Yeah, I kind of describe the book a little bit, give a little rating, and just share something from one of my favorite genres. I also want to do a Thriller Thursday, because I feel like I have not read a thriller in so long, and I think if I do this, then at least one Thriller Thursday a month, then I have one thriller I've read a month. And last year I was reading so many thrillers, but this year, I mean, I can't even name one, I think. Maybe The Woman in the Window is something I this year, if not last year. And then I already have my list for most anticipated reads of 2020. So that will also be a video later on in the year, books I'm looking forward to that are coming out next year. So with that, thank you so much for watching, and really let me know if you have book goals that you want to achieve this year, if there are things you haven't finished that you want to finish, if there are things that you think are going to be your favorites or have already become your favorites, and how excited you are for 2020, what releases you are looking forward to, and especially, like, is there a book that could shock you? Because I didn't really have anything, but if you have a recommendation for me, that would be so great. So thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Pick up a read and Biblio on.